All right. Okay, guys. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so I think I won't wait for everyone. Otherwise, please wait. No. Okay. Am I audible? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh,
Yes,
You see something like that?
I'm asking if I'm audible.
Oh yeah, we can hear
Yeah.
you. Yes.
We can hear you.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, those who want permission to record, you can drop a message, okay, and I give you the permission. Back, I think I granted to everyone. Okay. Permission to record. Okay. Right. All right. So, okay, I think we are good for permissions. Right. So, today I will introduce Oracle Golden Gate. Okay. And this morning I had a lot of challenge. Okay, with the morning prep, so I could not complete the PowerPoint. So it means that with you guys as well, I won't complete the PowerPoint. And but definitely Monday, I will make sure that I cover everything. So it means for Golden Gate, we have 2 days to introduce the topic. Okay. So this is the third project. Okay. So after this one, we jump to RAC. And RAC is the last project. So normally, if we count, we have about a month or a month and a half, okay, together before I pass you to the next, the next person. Golden Gate is a quite interesting, okay, very, very interesting technology. advisable, okay, recommended for GBA to understand how it works, very recommended. Because I know some of you have friends, okay, siblings, and they will tell you that, oh, Golden Gate is this, Golden Gate is easy, Golden Gate is difficult, Golden Gate is... But as someone who is uh, always, most of the time I always like to check, okay, either online or even in the company itself, Oracle. Most of the time I always have to check how, how long sometimes a product will still be, how can I say, what can I use it? How important some tools, okay? Just a lifetime of some technologies. Yes, I prefer to say lifetime because, as time moves on, you have some technologies, that are less used, okay? You have some tools because we have new tools coming out, right? And some other tools are, the percentage of use or the number of companies using the tools start decreasing as time moves on. So sometimes I always like to check, okay, based on what we do, based on what we use. And that's why I stopped working on 11G because based on the statistics, I noticed that a lot of companies now are mostly on 12C. And that's why I decided that all our projects, everything we take place on 12C. And that's how it will be for other classes, okay? If I notice that 18C or 12C release tool is highly demanded in the market, I think that will be our next, okay, request for Brontech to upgrade our server. So regarding Golden Gate, is highly used, and the prediction we are having for the future in Golden Gate, company will be using Golden Gate more and more, okay? And even when we check licenses, the percentage of companies having Golden Gate licenses is increasing, okay? It means that people are start having more interest on using the tool Golden Gate. So it's always a plus if a GBA knows Golden Gate. It's not mandatory. So you can be a GBA, but you don't know Golden Gate. You don't have Golden Gate, okay, experience. It's possible, okay? But DataGuard, you should, okay? So it's more mandatory than Golden Gate, okay? And it's more used even than Golden Gate. But Golden Gate is a very powerful tool, and especially for companies moving across, okay? Moving around, that means moving from server to servers, moving from operating system to operating system, moving from to the cloud, or moving, okay? Those companies, okay, that are moving across, or maybe exchanging data across department, okay? Or yes, or migrating, all those stuff. Or company, okay, or mission critical applications. So those type of applications that cannot afford a certain amount of downtime and so on. Okay, so on this, in this lesson, we will learn how Golden Gate, helps important, okay, application, to meet their SLA. Okay, it has its own benefit, okay, but also have, some drawbacks, some disadvantages, okay, as any other tool. So, okay, so our focus is to, on this particular topic, it won't be for you guys to be expert on it. It's for you to have knowledge, configure it, and I will take some time to navigate on Golden Gate with you guys. We navigate, okay, and I will show you guys some important files you guys need to check on how to troubleshoot and so on. Yeah, so I want you guys to take it seriously, okay? Take it as a serious project, okay? Again, don't be intimidated, right? Don't get intimidated. It's nothing. Because you will meet people, they will tell you Golden Gate is this, Golden Gate is that. Okay, but I've been a student like you guys, and I know you will meet some friend or family members, and they will tell you that Golden Gate is complicated, Golden Gate is difficult. But I can also tell you guys that Golden Gate can be a good plus for you to get a job, a very good plus. You can even get a job as Golden Gate expert, okay? Or you can get a job, you know, and they may need to use Golden Gate, maybe for a migration project, okay? So please take it seriously, okay? And yeah, you also have a better experience with that, okay? Since you guys already use DataGuard, you guys won't see a big difference, okay? Just have some enhancement or some small differences between both. All right. So I will start with an example, okay, in real life, okay, why such tool is needed. This type of tool can be used in an environment, and I will take some common example. You guys. I take something you are familiar with, okay? Some example you are familiar with, and we see if it makes sense, okay? Just based on this example, you can understand in overall how Golden Gate works, why it's used, okay? And I will start first, okay, with department example in department, okay? So let's assume we have 3 departments, okay? Let's assume you have a department, HR department. So let's assume I have employee, okay? Employee, I have a GBA, okay? So you are a GBA, okay? You just got a job, but this is a company, okay? It's a company, so you just got hired, right? So the company has multiple departments. Okay, I just want to list 3 of them. Let's take HR. Let's take maybe IT, because you're a GBA, right? You belong to maybe IT department, right? Let's take maybe finance department, okay? Each of these departments, let's assume they have different applications, okay? So HR has, let's take it, okay, very simple, okay? HR has the application name is called HR. Let's take IT department, okay? Let's just call application IT, okay? I don't want to use different name, but the application can be different, of course. Let's take another department. They use the application called finance, okay? And let's assume HR runs on a database, on my SQL database. So MySQL is an RDBMS, okay, like Oracle. Okay, so it runs on MySQL. Let's assume IT on SQL Server. Because that is how heterogeneous environments are. It's difficult to get you in some environment and you see only Oracle there, okay? They always get some other RDBMS to host some of their small applications because Oracle works better for big applications. That's why you get to companies, even if they are migrating to other platforms, they always have their critical application on Oracle. But Oracle is the best platform and the most secure one most of the time, unless you're in the cloud, okay? So that's why you can get to heterogeneous platform, okay? Though in the environment, when they have all Oracle, MySQL, SQL Server, Cassandra, MongoDB, DB2, Sybase, a lot of stuff, okay? But most of the time, finance application will store Oracle. Oracle. Okay. So let's assume each of the departments are running on different RDBMS. Okay. So IT, SQL Server. Okay. And what happened is what? You just got hired. So it means that HR application, maybe in the database, right? They have a table, and in that table, we have some of your record. Okay. So maybe they have a table for employees, correct? And that table now, you have employee ID and so on. On that table, social security and all your details. Okay, everything about you. You have it here. Your employee, your former, your employment history. Okay, so who is your previous employer? How many years of experience you have? Maybe they have all those details. Okay, let's take that. That's everything. Background check, report, everything, they have it here. And since you are going to IT, right, that means somewhere in IT department, you will have your information in one of the tables, right, so that they can identify you. Okay, because sometimes when you get to those big buildings, you need a card in order to access the department. You have an employee ID that is provided by the HR, and the IT department also has to authenticate you. Okay, and an account has to be created for you in this IT department. So IT department will also have some information about you, but they may not have all the information HR has. Okay, so it means that IT may have limited data. They may not have your social security. It's possible, okay, but they may not have it because they don't need it. Okay, they just need maybe your name, all right, your date of birth, maybe your skills, right? What is your position? Are you GBA? Are you developer? Are you analyst? They will have some of those details on a particular table or multiple tables. Okay, it can be one or more. But I assume that your information are stored only on one table. Finance, the same thing, right? They have to pay you, right? So finance, we have they may have your social, they may have your employee ID, they may have your location where you are located. Okay, so your detail will also be stored here, and that is valid for if you have other department. Okay, so now what happened is what? Once you got hired, your detail has to be shared in all those departments. So there are two ways of it. Okay, there are two ways. Either all of them enter your detail manually. Okay, so that means it's like HR passes your information manually to this department, and this department, and also HR passes your information manually to this one, because this is always the first one, and after this, others. But this is an old process, right? So, but that is the first scenario. It means that maybe let's assume they have your data on an Excel spreadsheet, and they just share it to this. This one will also type it and enter, okay? Or they will run a query, or okay, so they know how to enter your record, okay? Or same thing for this, they will share your detail, and your account will also be created on this platform, okay? So that is one option. Another option will be that, okay, whenever a user is added here, automatically, okay, you can decide to replicate some of the details across other departments. What am I saying? It means that this department, okay, we share all your details. So whenever we add the user, the HR hires someone, okay, automatically finance and IT can grab the information from HR, some information from HR, okay? So that means there should be a relationship somewhere, right, between those departments. So somewhere they are communicating, somehow they are communicating. So let's assume that HR, when you got hired, you had a name, okay? You got hired as a DBA, but HR mistakenly put developer, okay? So you can, since they are communicating, more likely other people may see you as a developer, okay? So if what happened is you want a system such a way that I can just tell the HR that, oh, it's a mistake. I'm not a developer, I'm DBA. So that whenever HR will update your role in the table, automatically other people will also receive the update. So that is the type of configuration. That is how environment mostly work. So department communicate. Okay, they have some data they share. Okay, so now that means if I add a record on this table, I want this table also to receive the record, and vice versa. If I update the record here, I also want here to be okay. So it can be bi or it can be unidirectional. Okay. So there are multiple ways of doing this. Okay. So you can use materialized views. Okay. To do that. Okay. You can use GBlinks to do that. Okay. So but let me take the most common one, materialized views, that is used by environment. So with materialized view, you guys know that I can just create a materialized view table, right? So that means just the column I need from this, I will create that on the IT department. Okay, so that whenever I'm updating this, automatically the materialized view will be updated. Okay, so that's the concept of materialized view, right? So you can decide to commit, auto commit, or to commit on demand. So it means that when the record are added here, if you want, you can set it up such a way that automatically will also be replicated to this table. Or you can create materialized view logs, and those logs have to be, you have to refresh the logs, right? You have to perform an MV refresh so that the record will go to the material, to the other table, okay? But what happened in materialized view is that whenever you want a refresh is taking place or data is getting transferred, it's a huge operation. It's quite expensive. Okay, so that's why in environment, when they're using a materialized view for application purpose, okay, they can refresh it when the production is not busy. Okay, they can issue a materialized view refresh when the production is not busy. So it means that maybe they wait after peak hours and they issue a refresh, and the refresh will take place. Okay, but you don't need such configuration, because maybe you want something that has to take place in real time. So that means as soon as you update something on this table, you also want this table to be updated, and also you also want this other table to be updated. Okay, so maybe you want, as soon as you perform a transaction here, you want it to be updated on other table. Okay, so you want it to take place in real time, right? So materialized view, you can use it for that, but it'll be quite expensive. Okay, it'll be quite expensive, but it's also possible. So what if I have a tool that can help me, okay, to automatically pick up a change here, perform on a particular table, and replicate it to related tables or child tables. Okay, so Oracle provides two tools. We have Oracle Streams, okay, that can do that. We also have Oracle OGG that can do that. So I will talk about the streams. The streams, I will talk about it, okay? But streams have some limitations, okay, that Oracle do not, okay? And this is the initial tool Oracle was using for this type of application, because Oracle is the one who built streams, okay? So Oracle Stream is just a set of PL SQL packages put together, and you just have to schedule the job and it will do that for you. But it has a lot of limitations, okay? And some of the limitations, okay, include streams can support only Oracle databases. Streams is difficult to maintain and difficult to monitor. In case those packages fail or for any reason it affect the performance, you should have coding knowledges, okay? You should have knowledges in writing packages for you to easily fix those issues, okay? And that's what makes the job a bit difficult. But if you are comfortable with PL/SQL packages, function, procedure, then you can work with this. Okay, this was the first technology provided by Oracle to replicate. So Oracle Golden Gate is the second option to perform this type of real-time replication. Okay, again, real-time object replication. So you can replicate changes performed on a particular object from one database to another database. Okay, on this example, we are talking about table, right? So we can replicate anything that's taking place on this table to the target table. So the benefit Golden Gate had over Stream was that Golden Gate is easier to configure, easier to support, easier to manage, and also it can help to replicate data, not just Oracle, but Oracle and something different than Oracle. For example, here, this application is running on MySQL. This one is SQL Server. This one is Oracle. Oracle Streams will not work for this configuration. Okay, but Golden Gate can work. So it means that if in this database, I just have a table, and this database I have a table, I want them to communicate, I want them to share the data, Oracle Golden Gate can take care of it. So it means that Oracle Golden Gate is not just used for Oracle technologies. It can also be used for SQL Server, Sybase, other stuff. So it supports other RDBMS. So that is the biggest, okay, one of the biggest benefits it offers. So in this example, if I have Golden Gate set up, Golden Gate will allow me to immediately replicate, okay, any change performed on this table to other tables residing on different applications or different databases. Okay, so that's the type of configuration one. So in case I update my name here, automatically, if the tool is configured, it can take that change and apply to other department. Okay, so we see that the benefit is that it helps to apply changes in real time, and also for this particular example, right, it can help to replicate data across different RDBMS or different departments in real time without downtime. Okay, so this is the first example I took for department, how department have common tables, they share some common data, right? And we can set up a tool that will help, data to be replicated easily across department. Okay, so this is the first configuration. This is the first example. Okay, now let me go to the second. Let me go to the second example. Okay. So this example is the banking system. Okay, and it's something you guys are familiar with as well. Okay. This is let me take a bank. Okay, and banks have multiple branches. Let's take ATM. Let me take branch 1. Another branch, branch 2. Another branch, branch 3. Okay, it has multiple branches. Okay, so maybe you wonder how you can just come to one bank, to one branch, you withdraw some money. Let's assume you have $1,000 here, and you want to withdraw money, right? You withdraw $100. On this branch, you will have 900 remaining on your account. If there's no relationship between these branches, it means that these branches, this one will also have your 1,000. If it was someone like me, right, I would just go across all branches and withdraw money because I know that only this branch has my detail. But what happened is that there is a setup allowing these branches to communicate so that whenever you perform a transaction and you commit the transaction, again, you commit. So what do I mean by commit? You can come, you have 1,000, you want to withdraw 100. And after you change your mind, you say, no, I need more. Till you issue complete or you issue withdraw, I don't know, there are the different buttons, right? Till you decide to, you validate the withdrawal, other department or other branches will still have the old data. That's what we call rate consistency. Okay, so that means what? Now, when you decide that, okay, no, I really need $1,000. Okay, I need $100. Now you commit, you withdraw the money. Okay, immediately there is a setup that will allow the change you just perform to be sent across other branches, to all the branches. And that's why almost, I can even say all the banks use Oracle Golden Gate to allow this type of replication. So if I come here and I do any operation as well in the branch number 2, Golden Gate, okay, there's always a tool that can also help me to replicate. So not just Golden Gate, okay, we also have third-party tools. So you see some environment we use HBR, okay, but HBR is not owned by Oracle. Okay, but we need a tool like Golden Gate or HBR that will help you to replicate data across the branch. Okay, so if I withdraw money in my debit card, automatically it should be replicated in other branches. Okay, so what we allow the application, we need a setup, okay, between the branches, and whenever you perform a change in one of the branches, that setup or the tool will help to replicate those changes across other branches. Okay, so this is an example of the banking system. So that's why if not just banking, okay, even we have banking, we have I'll also talk about energy or streaming when it comes to TV and other stuff. Multiple, but when it comes to banking, it's highly used in banking as well. Because if you are here, you perform the change, will be replicated here. If you are here, you perform the change, will also be replicated here. So you see that that's why banks use OGG or HBR as well. Also, it's also valid for airline, okay? Those airline companies, right? So let's assume I have Ethiopia Airline or American Airline. We have here. American Airline has different location, okay? So if you reserve a ticket in Maryland, okay, people from the American Airline on their system, they should be able to notice from Texas that you perform an update, okay? So you can make reservation and you'll be replicated across all the other across all other locations. So you need a tool, not just Golden Gate, right? But you need a tool that will allow a real-time application. So wherever you are, you can get those details. It's also valid for insurance and other stuff. Okay, so we need a setup like that. So Golden Gate can help you. Okay, it's a very powerful tool that can allow you to perform such operation. Okay, and that's not the only benefit. It has a lot of benefit. Okay, and I'll explain some of them. So far on this example, do you have any question? Any question on this? All right, good. So now, what is Oracle Golden Gate? Okay, I took some example, right? Okay, what's Oracle Golden Gate? As I said initially, Oracle was using Oracle Streams. That's the first technology Oracle had for data application. But Oracle Streams, okay, as I said, right, difficult to maintain, and it can allow replication across between Oracle and Oracle databases only. Golden Gate itself initially was not owned by Oracle Corporation. There's a small company that built a tool, and Oracle got interested, right? That's because that's how big companies are. You will see Amazon, all those big companies, they buy small companies, small businesses, because they know that they can take that feature, enhance it, and make more money with that. Even now, you will wonder, for instance, that you have a friend, your friend says that he or she is working for Oracle Corporation, but he or she is not working on Oracle technologies. Okay, the person will tell you that I'm working for Oracle Corporation, but I'm managing AWS. Like I have a brother who is in Oracle, but he works 100% on AWS. He doesn't touch anything on Oracle. Because Oracle bought their company, right? Small business, they bought the company because they have, that company has something that Oracle can use to make more money or to get more customers. Okay, so that's how Oracle bought this company, Golden Gate, the company that has a small group of people, and they bought Oracle Golden Gate and they enhanced it. Now Oracle Golden Gate is one of the best tools Oracle has. Okay, so it's a tool, it's a software. It's a software. It means that we wrote some code, we tested it, and it worked, and it's used. So it's a software. That's the first thing you guys have to know. So it means software means you have to download it, unzip it, install it. It means it has a home. It has its own binaries. So let's keep this in mind. It's a tool you have to download, unzip, install. It has its own home, its own binaries. Like Oracle software also has its own home, its own binaries. So it's a separate tool. It's not attached. It doesn't come with the Oracle software. You have to download it separately and install it separately. But what happens is you will connect the tool to a database. So the goal is what? Golden Gate will connect to the database and we just capture what you want it to capture and send it across the network. That is why you need it. Okay? So, so first of all, we all should know first it's a tool. Okay. And Golden Gate now comes with, again, it helps to replicate, right? It can help you to replicate the entire database. That's what the DataGuard does, right? DataGuard helps to replicate the entire database from one location to another one. The initial location for DataGuard is called primary, and the other one is called standby. We all are familiar with that. Okay, that is database replication. Okay, Golden Gate can also do the same. But for Golden Gate, the initial location, the source location is called source, and the other location is called target. So use different terminologies now to define each of them. Okay, so the DataGuard we talk about primary and standby. In Golden Gate we talk about source and target. Okay, so Golden Gate, unlike DataGuard, can replicate not just databases, the entire database, but it can also replicate objects. So it can replicate schema. So you may decide that you want only a particular schema to be replicated to a different location. So you say, okay, maybe the other database needs only this particular schema. With Golden Gate, you can decide. You can decide to replicate only a particular table or multiple tables. You can do that with Golden Gate. You can decide that maybe you need to replicate only some few columns. Golden Gate will do that. Or maybe even some rows. Golden Gate will do that. So you say it can go at the more granular level. That's one of the limitations DataGuard has. Because DataGuard is there to replicate the entire database. You don't decide which one you want to send across. Everything will go. Everything will go. But Golden Gate can pick what you want it to pick. You want it to replicate one or multiple schema, you just have to specify in Golden Gate which schema you want to replicate. you want it to replicate one table or multiple tables, just let Goldingen know. Goldingen will capture only, okay, transaction, Goldingen will capture transaction related only to that table or those tables. Okay, so that is what you guys have to know. And what is very, very important is that it can help you to filter and transform. So it means what? You have maybe a table that has 10 rows, and you don't need all the 10 rows. It's like this example, right? Maybe IT doesn't need everything HR has. So it means that the table structure of IT is different from the table structure of HR, because you won't replicate everything you have here to this one. Maybe you will say, okay, maybe this one doesn't need social securities. So I will replicate everything else. I will replicate data except social securities. So that means that this table is now different from this one. It doesn't have the same number of columns. So how can you do that? Goldingen can help you to replicate data across table having different structure. So Goldingen can help you to filter. So you will configure Goldingen and set up those process, the related Goldingen component, so that they will filter some roles. They will prevent some roles from being sent across the network. So that's part of the transformation or the filtering. Okay, so Goldingen can do that. So if you don't need everything, you can decide that Goldingen will filter those rows and send only what you need. Okay, so that's an example. And yes, if you want to encrypt, you want to compress everything, Goldingen will help you. So we see that Goldingen definitely, okay, can help you not just to replicate data, but it can help you to also filter the data. Okay, Oracle Data Guard cannot do that. Data Guard, whatever is coming from the primary, right, it goes to the standby like that. Okay, so something good to know. And now Goldingen comes with two flavors. Okay, this is the initial architecture Oracle Bot. Okay, the classic. The classic is mostly interactive command line, like SQL and OEM. You guys know on SQL Plus, you guys type command, right? But on OEM, you can also type command on OEM, but it's more than clicking, more like clicking, okay? You can just go there, click there, you see this table space, click there, you see this schema, click there, you see this, okay? So that's the same thing with these two. So the initial one was classic, and the classic is more than command line. So you need to log into the server, or you connect to one of the tools they have. They can be using Goldingen Hub, they can be using Goldingen Monitor, they can be using Goldingen Validator, okay, to monitor it. But it's most of the command line thing. So you need to connect to SQL, VI some stuff, update some stuff. But the other flavor is microservice. It's like the OEM, okay? It's more than graphical. So it's new, it's quite new. You can see 2017. So it's quite new, but it's highly used though, because it's easier and you have less issues than this one, less challenge, okay? But what happened is what? In the background, whatever this thing is doing is the same thing this one is doing. It's like OEM. When you guys create a table space on OEM in the background, right? We get the GGL and we run it on the database. So it means that it's the same thing that happened in the background. That's why in an interview, if they know that you are familiar with this, it won't be difficult for them to teach you this one. Okay, because you just have to be familiar with which button does what, which command does, which area should I check, and so on. Okay, so these are the two architecture we have. We have classic, we have microservice. And in Brontech, we use classic, okay, because we don't have microservice. So you guys will be configuring the classic architecture, right? Any question? Right. Maybe let me jump to some places before I take general questions. So, as I said, right, Grading can help for availability. Okay. So it ensures high availability because the table or the schema, if it's replicated to another location, you can, what happens is you can use it for query offloading. So you may decide that so basically how will that be configured? So it means that if I have a ORCL, database called ORCL, and I have a database called TLS-DMO, I muted everyone. So if I database, that means I have to come here on ORCL, configure Golden Gate here. That means I should come to the server, right, where ORCL runs. Configure Golden Gate. I also come to the other server where ORCL runs, and I also configure Golden Gate. What happens is, this first Golden Gate we capture from here, whatever you want it to capture, we send it to the other Golden Gate, and this one we apply here. So that's why you need Golden Gate to be installed twice. Okay, so let's assume this is the network. All right, so this one captures, send it across the network, and this one applies it. And it can also be vice versa. So you can have a scenario like this one, send to this. This one is the one to capture, send across the network, and this one applies it. Okay, so we talk about it bidirectional. Okay, so I was saying that if you are replicating a table, okay, or a schema, it will become highly available when, because you have the copy of that table, okay? The table was here, and you replicated it here. Let's assume you replicated the entire table, okay? It means that even if this table is lost, I can still grab it from here, okay? So that is a part of high availability, okay? And vice versa. It can be the same thing for schema or database related high availability. So it can be used for high availability. Heterogeneous migration, all those stuff. Heterogeneous, it means that Golden can work across non-Oracle RDBMS, okay? Non-Oracle databases. So this one can be Oracle, this one is non-Oracle, this one is SQL Server, and so on. Golden Gate doesn't care about it. This Oracle database can be running on Linux, this one is running on Windows. Golden Gate doesn't care about it, okay? So what happens is when you want to install Oracle, Golden Gate, Oracle will give you the supported platform on the README file, okay? Oracle will provide you the platform supported by Oracle, but by Golden Gate, okay? Depending on the Golden Gate version. If it's a Golden Gate 12c, Oracle will tell you, okay, 12c is supported on Linux, Red Hat 6, 7, or 5, and so on, okay? So just read the manual, okay, and see all the platforms that are supported, all right? So, so it can work with homogeneous and heterogeneous. Don't see because I put heterogeneous and you see that you say that it doesn't work on homogeneous, okay? It can also work on homogeneous platform. And it can also be used for data migration. Okay? Data migration and load balancing, migrating data, okay, from one location to another one. Data update is like upgrading, right? I told you guys that you can upgrade using Golden Gate. Okay. You can upgrade from 10 to 11G, 11 to 12C, even from 10 from 10 to 12. You can do that with Golden Gate. So it's a very good tool for application. Load balancing, you can use it because you can offload, right? You can offload some transaction from the production. You decide that, okay, they have to take place in this location. So let's assume that you can manage connection, okay, connectivity on a particular object. So you don't want maybe some transaction to take place here to run on this table on the database. You can redirect those user to the other one, okay, and you stop them from using this one, okay. So Golden Gate will be the one to replicate data across, okay, but you can offload those transactions from the production. And also it can be used for reporting, okay. That is what I explained here as well. And it can help for decision support and data warehouse. Okay, I will explain the data warehouse decision support when we get to topologies. Okay, because data warehouses, Golden Gate can be used for extracting, transform, and load. You can Golden Gate to extract data from one location and load it to another location. So it can also be used for that. Coming to Golden Gate topologies, okay, there are different types of configuration available for Oracle Golden Gate. So maybe you guys will be familiar with this, and this one, if you are trying to relate it with Oracle Data Guide. So what happens is in Oracle Golden Gate, you may decide that you want the replication to be one way. It means that it just moves from source to target. We all know that is the typical example of Oracle Data Guide. It just moves from the primary to the standby. I never say that you move from the standby to the primary, right? Unless you already perform a switchover. And this one becomes a new primary. But Data Guide is active passive. So one is active, one send, another one just receives. So Golden Gate also can have that configuration. So you just need to install Golden Gate here, install it here, and you just need one. Data Guide doesn't do by no, but Golden Gate can do bi-directional application. So it means that you can have a table like this one. So you have different users, right? Some users are connected here, some users are connected here. So when this user commit a transaction, it goes and it updates this table. When this user commit, it's also going to update. You see that it's a two-way relationship. Okay, so once I do something, it goes here to the other side. When I go do something here on this side, it goes to the other side. So it's bi-directional. So Golden Gate can also support that with active. Peer-to-peer is just active. It's just bi-directional, but we have more than two databases involved. So you can see here that we have bi-directional between these two, bi-directional between these two, and bi-directional between these two. Okay, so we call it peer-to-peer. And it's a typical example of banking system. Okay, one of them, typical example of the banking system. And also this is for broadcasting. Okay, TV and all this stuff, or cable, everything. Okay, this is the broadcasting. So it means that we have one provider, we have multiple receivers. It's like standby as well, right? Data Guide, you have multiple standby. It's also the same configuration. So it means that you will configure multiple Golden Gate here, Golden Gate here, Golden Gate here, Golden Gate here, and this data coming from here will be replicated across. You can also have consolidation. It's now the reverse. It means that everything moves from this. We have multiple sources and one target. So it's like data warehousing. Okay, when you have those company banks, they have a warehouse, right? So those branches, the record of those branches, maybe at the end of the day, will be loaded to the warehouse. Okay, for decision support and also for analytic purpose. So we can configure, Golden Gate can help for that, okay, for replication. And also you can have cascading effect. Cascading effect is work a little bit like broadcasting, but sometimes, right, we may have some performance impact whenever we are having multiple capture processes. Okay, and I will explain a little bit how the classic capture works. So, and because sometimes this can affect the performance of the production, okay, we may decide that, okay, we can configure only one set of capture processes, and we have a mediator, someone in between, who will now take care of the replication. So it means that this user here won't be affected because there's only one capture or process here. But now this one can be affected, right? The performance of this one can be affected, but it doesn't matter because more likely for this one, you won't redirect your user to access this one. So it's cascading just means you just add another mediator. So there will be a unidirectional replication between the source and this mediator, and the mediator now will perform broadcasting to other target server. All right, so those are the topologies we have available in GordonGate. Question?
Mr. Gaida.
Yes, sir.
Anyways, thanks for the brief explanation. I just have a quick question. Could you take me back to the diagram? The one you demonstrated.
This one?
Yes.
Yeah.
So actually the Oracle GordonGate is being configured on the database, not on the server.
On the server.
On the server?
Yes, on the server.
So what if, like in the case where we have like you said, like a monogeneous environment? And how does that work?
Homogeneous environment?
Yes. So if you have like the GordonGate configured there, you can create as many databases as possible, and how does it work?
Oh, that means you want to use the same GordonGate to replicate data from multiple databases on that server? Or what? Maybe I did not get your question right.
Okay, based on this diagram you've demonstrated, I think I'm just thinking like if this is like yes, like one environment like Linux, and we have GordonGate that's running on it. So you have configured the Oracle GordonGate on this TLS XAML, and you have still configured the GordonGate on this ORC here. So I'm just wondering if that's what happened.
Okay. What's happening is that, yes, you are correct. GordonGate is not installed on a database, so it's deep independent on the database until you connect it to the database. So it means that the GordonGate may not be working, or the database can go down, but it won't also cause the GordonGate to go down. Okay, so they are separated. Now, because you have two platforms, let's assume there are different servers. Server 1, server 2. What happened is what? You are going to download GordonGate here. Make sure on server 1 you install GordonGate. Server 2 you also install GordonGate. So that means it has to be installed twice. Okay. Now, doing the configuration, you will set it up such a way that these two installations will communicate. That is just done through some parameters. Okay. You will navigate and you also see that all over the places. So you just set some parameters here, and you allow the communication between the two separated tools you install. They can be on the same home or different home, it doesn't matter. You can stage the tool in a different directory. It doesn't matter, okay? That one doesn't matter. But so what you guys have to keep in mind is that this Oracle GordonGate will not service this database. It will service only the database on this server. Another server, this GordonGate will service the database on its server. Let's keep in mind, this GordonGate can service multiple databases. If you have more than 2 databases on this server, all of them can be replicated by one GordonGate. tool. But if you want to replicate data from one database to another database, you have to install Golden Gate twice. So one is for the first database, the other one is for the second one. And those two, based on the parameter you will set, you will create some processes, they will communicate. And what happens is, the first tool will capture from this one and send to the second tool, and the second one will apply to the target site. I don't know if it's what you are asking as a question. Or you are still confused somewhere? Just let me know.
Yes, sir, I'm still a little bit confused. I'm taking an example like if I'm using my own server. Like I don't want to use only my own server. So how can I configure the Golden Gate on my two databases?
Oh,
yes.
Okay. So that means you don't want to use another server.
Yes.
Okay. You may need to install it twice on your server on different home, on different directories. So it means that you can decide that, okay, let's assume the scenario you are talking about, okay, which is almost impossible in a real environment, that you have one server, your own server, and you have two databases on that server. The first database is ORCL, and the second database is test. So if you want to install Golden Gate for application between these two, what happens is you install OGG1. You can say that, okay, OGG1 is stored in user 1. You put a directory called OGG1. And then you install the second OGG2, and it will run on, maybe if you want to, okay, still on user 1, but you put on OGG2 now, directory. So, and what happens is that you will set it up and you will connect OGG2 to test, connect OGG1 to ORCL, but you will make sure that OGG1 and OGG2 communicate. But OGG1 will not service both databases. So you need to install Golden Gate twice on different home. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and you've answered my question. Thank you.
All right, no problem.
And another case on like the two different servers. So that like the two databases, do they perform DML?
Yes, they can be open in read-write. They are open in read-write mode even. So they are regular databases, right?
Yeah.
So they can open in read-write. That means they just share common tables or common schema, but they have other schema, other table, right? So that means users are still accessing the databases and performing their transaction. Okay, so it's not like one should be like mounted like we have this. No, Golden Gate, the typical user in Golden Gate is that most of the time both databases are active, so users can access, update, perform whatever they do as usual. But they just share a common table, a common schema, or multiple tables. Does it make sense? Does it make sense what I just said, guys?
Yeah.
Yes, good.
So in the case of backup, since they have different schema, how would this other one serve for the other one?
In case of backup, okay, it depends on your backup strategy, right? If you are doing a database backup, the backup of ORCL will be backup as well as stable. If you are doing database backup or TLDMO, you also backup everything. If you just want to perform a data file backup, you can back it up, right? So the backup doesn't change. The only difference is that they have something they share in common. They have something in common, right? They have some data shared by both databases. That's the only difference. So backup are not affected. By backing up this table doesn't mean you also back up automatically this one. Because again, right, as I said, they can have different structure. So that's how it works.
Okay, thank you.
All right, problem. Another question?
Yeah, so in like the case of the peer-to-peer, like the banking, so that means you have to install the Golden Gate on all the source, right? And can you install it in the same Oracle, like it has to be in the same Oracle home, or it can be in a different Oracle home?
Okay. Okay. Now the Oracle version can be different. Okay, so maybe here 11G can be running 10, there 12C, and so they can be different. It's not mandatory for all the Oracle version to be the same.
Okay.
So that means the Oracle home can be different. Just the ping is enough. If JNS ping works, they can ping each other. That's it. It's not like ARM and duplicate when you have to make sure the listener can listen.
Okay.
Yes?
So can you explain a little bit more about like the load balancing in that scenario?
Load balancing again, right? Is just that you can decide that you on this particular table, okay, you redirect some transaction here on one of the table, you will get other transaction on another table. You can set up such that like that. Okay, so some transaction are sent, some user are sent to particular table, and some other user also sent to another. So it's like you want to send some users to a particular database and other users to another database.
Okay.
Okay, so let's assume that those users have access to this table. They can rewrite to this table. Okay, but you don't want all of them to come to this table only, to this database only, because they can affect the performance of the database.
Mm-hmm.
Share, right? Some set of users, you create a service, that's a service running here. Some users can access only TLS DMO, but when they connect to TLS DMO, they can access only the table. Okay, and some users can access ORCL. So it balances the load. So whenever those users in ORCL commit, the commit will be replicated to this table. Whenever this user on this TLS DMO commit, the commit also be replicated here. So you just balance the load.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any question?
So if sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
In like let's say in like a 12C, because we have like the pluggable database, does it support that?
Yes, very good. It supports containers, also support pluggable. You can decide to configure GoldenGate at the pluggable level. It's not like DataGuard. Right? DataGuard you have to configure at the root level. You cannot decide that you want to configure DataGuard for a particular pluggable. But GoldenGate, you can decide that you want to replicate data from one pluggable only to another pluggable.
Okay.
So it supports multi-tenancy. Does it make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, no problem.
Sir.
Yes, Mr. Brown.
The truth, I'm not still convinced how this is more charismatic than DataGuard.
No. Sorry, I never said more charismatic. Giving some benefit. Okay, we get to the difference now.
Okay.
That's benefit you have disadvantage. So we just have to know, why do we need a tool? It's the why. Why do I need this tool? I cannot just get a tool because you are saying good things to me, right? You have multiple parameters. How much is it? And can it help me to meet, my all my expectation? Okay, that's the only thing I need. If I can grab something that will help me to make more money, then that's good. Or to make my data more available, that's good. So depends on what you want to do with that. Depends. So I'll even jump into the differences between GoldenGate and DataGuard. Okay, and I'll explain some of the benefits of DataGuard, some of the benefits of Oracle GoldenGate. Okay. Another question before I jump here? Oh, la. What's wrong here? Okay. So, no question. Let's proceed. All right. Now, difference between GoldenGate and DataGuard. Okay. DataGuard when it comes to disaster recovery, DataGuard is the best tool ever for disaster recovery. So because with DataGuard, you can decide that with DataGuard, you can set it up such a way that if the primary is down, the standby can be used. So you can have a whole switch. Okay? You can also use it for reporting purpose, backup, and so on, right? But that's the main benefit of DataGuard. But GoldenGate cannot do that. GoldenGate cannot ensure, cannot perform, cannot help for disaster recovery. No. So it means that if something fails on this data, if the database fails, GoldenGate will never redirect your transaction to this database. Never. That's not why it's okay. That's not its usage. So DataGuard is the best tool for that. That's why you will see DataGuard more than GoldenGate in the environment. Okay, you'll be more exposed to DataGuard than GoldenGate. But GoldenGate, if you see environment, okay, GoldenGate can be used whenever people are doing migration. You see some companies, if they are not using GoldenGate for application, they can acquire a GoldenGate license because they are migrating, and okay, or maybe because they are upgrading and they don't want downtime. It's possible. So if, for instance, you get to a company and they say, okay, hey, GBA, migrate this data to this new server. We don't want downtime. We want near zero downtime. You just tell them which tool can do that. Okay. If they are telling you no downtime and they don't have logical standby, they don't have GoldenGate, you can't do that. You can't do that. So if they want zero downtime migration, then they have to pay for that. Either they configure logical standby, which is, okay, that means they need data guard. Either data guard is fine. They can just use the logical standby. The license is free. But if they don't have data guard, either they configure it or they have to use GoldenGate, which is the best tool for migration or upgrade. Okay, so, and GoldenGate is good for heterogeneous platform. So it can also be used non-Oracle, as well as Oracle or Oracle non-Oracle. Okay. When it comes to database replication, GoldenGate is slower than DataGuard because DataGuard is faster when it comes to database level replication. So if you are replicating everything from this database to database, DataGuard is faster. But if you want to use GoldenGate for replicate everything from here to here, it'll be more slower than DataGuard. And GoldenGate, okay, has multiple topologies. Okay, it has we saw the topologies, right? So it means it can replicate unidirectional replication, can perform unidirectional replication or bi. So it means that that is a plus. DataGuard cannot provide it. Okay, and also sometimes with DataGuard you can have downtime, especially whenever you want to set some parameters that require the database to be bounced. You may need to shut down database. If you want to set up, for instance, GB file name convert, log file name convert, all those parameters, right? At some point, you need to stop the database and start it back up. The GoldenGate, when you configure GoldenGate, there is no downtime at all. You can configure GoldenGate when the database is running. It will replicate. If yes, so that at some point, maybe will a little bit affect the performance of the database, especially whenever you're using the log miner. But the database can still be up and running. All right, so that's a benefit, right? And GoldenGate can transform the data. So GoldenGate, you can decide to replicate only a particular schema, only a particular table. Okay. No, that's not the one. Okay. So you can decide to replicate only a particular, if I have a schema here, I can decide to replicate only that schema or a particular table. But DataGuard replicate everything. Whatever you find on the primary is the same thing you found on the standard. That's a limitation. But why? Based on what I said, okay, of course, someone can also say that the Golden Gate is more beneficial, okay? But if companies do not use Golden Gate a lot, the only reason is because it's more expensive than DataGuard. It's more expensive than DataGuard license. So, an Oracle has a business, okay? If you buy Golden Gate license, they will give you DataGuard license. But if you buy DataGuard license, you never have Golden Gate license. Okay, so it's more expensive. That is that's the issue, and it cannot help for disaster recovery. If this tool was able to help for disaster recovery, it will be used. You will never heard of DataGuard. But because we need something that will help in case of a disaster, then DataGuard is still valid and is still highly used. Okay, so there are multiple, maybe there are other reasons behind. But these are some of the most important ones I picked, okay? But that's the difference between Golden and DataGuard. I talk about Golden as streams, okay? Oracle Stream is only for Oracle databases. Golden can go above that. Beyond that, it can go with Oracle, non-Oracle. Golden is easy to set up. Oracle Stream is more complicated to set up. And Golden provide more high performance when it comes to replication. Okay, but Oracle Streams sometimes you have a lot of challenges when it comes to replication. Any question on what I said earlier? Okay, guys.
Sir,
yes.
Maybe I missed the part when you talk about Oracle Stream. Could you bring refresh me back?
Oracle Stream is a set of packages. Okay, you have to run some packages to set up Oracle Stream so that it can do the same job as Oracle Golden Gate.
Okay.
It can replicate data from one location to another one. So it's a bunch of CPS SQL packages you have to put together for it to enable Oracle Streams. But this is the first technology Oracle had before Oracle buys Golden Gate, before buying Golden Gate. Okay, so Oracle Streams is limited to Oracle databases only. So if you don't have Oracle database, you can't use Oracle Streams. And Oracle Streams, as I said, right, it's a bunch of PSQL code, difficult to maintain. Why? Because if it fails, you have to troubleshoot. And in order to troubleshoot, you have to know what it is. You have to know what packages are about. You have to know how they work. So it means that you need some knowledge in coding PSQL packages. Okay, so it's more complicated to set up, more complicated to maintain, and even to troubleshoot. If there's a performance issue with those packages, in order to debug it, you need some knowledge, right? Before you can fix that. So yes, that's what Stream is all about. But don't get surprised, guys, if you hear someone tell you that they have Oracle Stream in their environment. Because most of the old DBA, people will be working for years. So most of them have, even you, if you stay in an environment for 10 years and you are exposed to PL packages, PL SQL or procedural function, you can get familiar with that. You can familiarize yourself with that. And you can start writing those stuff as well. Okay, so most of them are really they are more comfortable with coding, with code. So they like working with packages. As I told you guys, like in Texas, when I was working there, those people did not really know what OEM is all about. Some of them did not know. They just had OEM 13.6 it stayed there somewhere. That OES 13C was hosting just 6 databases out of about 1,000 databases. It was hosting only 6 because they did not know how it works. They were just comfortable with some of the job. They already wrote the big packages that will automatically monitor the health for the database, generate alert. They were comfortable with that. Even to create users, I never use whatever you guys go to secret type create user. They build a package for that. Everything we had packages. And that is how the guy who did that was really smart. The guy because there was a guy in that environment, it looks like when he hired me, it was to replace him. Because once he hired me, I came there, they told me he left one day before. I never saw him even. And he was one of the most experienced in that environment. But he was very smart because he was asking for more money. Okay, he needed a pay raise. He was earning a lot more than others. He was the lead, the team lead. So, but what happened is the company said, no, we won't raise, okay? He said, okay, no problem, I'm going. He was smart because he created a lot of jobs in that environment. And he was the only one to master those jobs, to know how they work in the background. What happened is he just left. We stayed behind, right? Nobody was able to debug whenever that stuff was failing. Nobody. We see the job running, but we cannot stop it because we don't even know what it's doing. And just for that, the company hired him again and increased the pay, as he said. So that means the person who built packages, master, he knows it well. Okay? So that is some tricks. That's how they like doing in environment most of the time. They own a product. Even here in Oracle, that's the same thing. We have somebody who built a tool owned by Oracle only. He built a tool, and that tool, whenever there's an issue with that tool, only him can troubleshoot. Only him can fix it. We just use it. We even open the script we don't understand. That's how, okay, it is whenever we come to code. People master their code whenever they're the one to create it, okay? So, but it's difficult, right? If you are not the one who created those code, it's difficult for you to monitor or to troubleshoot them. So better you use something that runs in the background. Regarding it, you just issue normal command, but in the background, there are some jobs running. You don't care about it, okay? You don't care. What matters is that your transaction can go through. Are we good? Are you good, Mr. Brian, Mr. Cody?
Yes, sir. I'm good. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Any other question? Okay, guys, please give me 10 minutes. When we come at 7. At 7, I will start with the architecture. Okay. Please give me 10 minutes. I'll come back. Okay. All right. Okay, coming back to this, I spend more time on the architecture now. These are the Gordon component. Okay, this is what works in the background. I told you guys that you have to install Gordon Gate on the source and on the target. This is what works. This is what you find in the background. Like data guy, right? You guys also had a set of processes responsible for the transport and the apply. Okay, so Gordon Gate as well has a set of processes responsible to capture and apply. So you guys need to understand how every single process works. You need to understand. Okay? You need to know how to set up each of these processes. Okay, and and the workflow. So this is the source database, and this is the target database. So initially, both databases should be existing. Okay, and you can see here some component: extract, manager, collector, verify, data pump, replica. Okay, so let me take an example. Let's assume this is our source database that I call OASL. And this is the target database that I call test. Okay. And the source database there's a schema here called HR.employees. Okay, there's a table, HR.employees. And the table, let's assume you want to, for the initial setup, okay, you can, if it's a new setup, right, you can create the same table on the target side. You can create the same table on the target side. Same empty table on the target side. And you set up Gordon Gate so that the new changes, the data that will be added here will just go to the target location. Okay, so it means that you have empty table, newly created tables. You can create both tables initially on the source and target, and Gordon Gate will just take care of the synchronization. This scenario will almost never happen, because most of the time you will configure Gordon Gate on existing tables. Okay, so it means that this table already has some record, but the table was not here on the target yet. The table was not here yet. So it means that maybe just assume this table has 1,000 record. Okay, the table has 1,000 record. Okay, so it has 1,000 rows. I don't like to draw with this mouse or this stuff. Let me use this one. Okay, but you want this table to be replicated, get replicated to the database called test. Okay, so you can't just come and create it. Okay, so what happened is you can just come and get the GGL and just come and create HR.employees here. But this one will have 0 rows because it's empty. It has 0 rows. This one has 1,000. So for this 1,000 row to be found here, you have to perform a one-time operation. That one-time operation consists of loading 1,000 row from the ORACL to test. So it means that you may need to perform an operation that will help you to move all these 1,000 rows across the network from the source to the target. And that operation is called the initial load. It's a one-time operation. So once you perform this one-time operation, it means it will move from 0 row to what? To 1,000 row after the initial load. Now, Gordon Gate, now we have other components that will help to ensure the synchronization when more rows are added. So let's assume now we have 1,001, 1,002, all the way and so on, right? Now Gordon Gate will now take care of replicating the additional detail to this one, to the target location. So it means that there are two processes taking, there are two jobs taking place in Gordon Gate at the setup. When you just set up Gordon Gate, because those tables are already populated, you have to first load those existing records to the target database. That is done only once. Only once. You don't do initial load. So after the initial load is done, the job is stopped automatically by Oracle. If you are using Gordon Gate to do that, it will stop. So, and the remaining operation is called chain synchronization. And there's a set of processes taking care of that. Take care of that. All right. So that's how it works. Okay. So now the initial load, that means the first time you load the rows from here to here, can be performed using Gordon Gate itself. That means Gordon Gate itself, you can configure a set of processes that will perform the initial load only. And once the initial load is done, those processes will stop working. You can even delete them. Or you can use any other tool to perform the initial load. You can use Oracle Data Pump. You may decide to export the table and import here if you want to. You can use SQL Loader, okay? And you can even use Arman Duplicate, okay? So you have multiple ways of loading data from here to here, okay? And transportable table space and all those stuff. So the initial load, you can use multiple tools to perform the initial load. But at the end, once it's done, you stop it. It's a one-time operation. Now that the target table is already loaded, it has record. Now, whenever anything is coming from the production, now the other component will take care of the synchronization. That's why we have two operations, initial load and chain synchronization. So that's what you guys can see here. So in this picture, Gordon Gate is the one to take care of initial load because this component is created in Gordon Gate. So that's why you see the first, you can see here, data source for initial load, the source table. So Gordon Gate will perform the initial load. And once this initial load is performed, the job will stop automatically. And now for additional record, any change being performed on the table here, we go through the chain synchronization process. Okay, and this is the network. Now, what are these processes? What are they doing? Remember, I told you guys that Gordon Gate captures only committed record, only committed transactions. It means that if the transaction is not committed, Gordon Gate will never capture such transaction. All right. So, and the capture process is called the extract process. This is the process you will configure, and this process will capture any change, any committed transaction here, and we come and write it, and we either write it in this location or send it itself across the network. And whenever the extract captures a change, a committed record, it assigns a unique identifier, a number to that record called checkpoint number. that number will help the extract to keep track of which committed transaction has been captured or which one has not been captured yet. Let's assume that on the Rudo log, okay, Rudo log files, I have Rudo 01, Rudo 2. Let me take, I have Rudo number 1, Rudo number 2, Rudo number 3. When the extract will capture Rudo number 1, it will give, there will be a checkpoint number assigned. So once it comes back, it won't capture number 1 again. You will notice that, oh, I already captured number 1. So let me jump to number 2 now because I already captured number 1. All those records, the extract will be reading a particular file, and that from that file, the extract will know where it stopped. Okay, and I will talk about checkpoint file, and I will show you guys where it's located once we are navigating in Golden Gate. So it captures only committed record. Okay, now there's 2 options. Either this guy will write here or we send across the network. You can't do both configuration at a time. So the default configuration is for the extract to send the data straight to another process that we call the corrector, or you will have another configuration with these 2. That's why you guys see the color is different because it's optional. But now it is optional, but you will, in more than 99% of the time, company will be using these 2. Even though you see optional here, right? But it's highly recommended by Oracle. Now, assignment for you guys. Why are these 2 important? Without this, what type of issue can we get into? We can get into. So how important are these 2? And without these 2 available, that means you want to use the extract collector, you don't want to do this. What type of issue you can get into or you can face? So this question can be answered now or Monday, but I need an answer by Monday because it's very, very important. You guys will configure using these 2 because you will almost never see this configuration. High risk is very risky, this configuration. And I want you guys to give me a very good answer. So my explanation here, when I will proceed with this course, I will ignore this connection because you will almost never do it. I want to show you guys what you will be doing. Extract collector, you will almost never do that. So I will be explaining extract, this one, local, trail, data pump, collector, and so on. So this is the architecture I will be explaining, this chain synchronization. So I gave the assignment already. So coming to this configuration, so when the extract captures the committed record, right, it has to write those records somewhere. And this is the storage. So you configure the thread file. Okay, you set some parameter and automatically Golden Gate will create some thread file for you. And I think on 11G, those thread files have 6 characters. So it means that they have 6 digits. If the thread file name is start with EX, that means you see it like this, EX 000001 for the first STRL file. The second one will be 0002, 00003, and so on. Okay. But on 12C, it can go to 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So in this scenario, you see that in this scenario on 12C, we can have more 12 file or more storage, more 12 file than on 11G, because this one can fill up, right? This is the the highest value. EX 99999. So once it reaches EX 999, it can't go more than that. So you have to do something else. Okay, but here you see here that you have more record. So in order for you to reach 999 here, you take a lot of time. Okay, so don't worry, you guys will see this one. Okay, if I have a chance to configure Golden Gate this weekend, you guys will see all these things. Or when you are configuring yourself, you will see that. So this is a 12 file. This is where the extra will keep those committed records it captured here. We will keep that here on this 12 file. Okay. And the POM process, which is different from data POM. I don't like the way they always put data POM, but it's a POM process. It's different from EXPDP. It's not EXPDP, guys. It is a POM process. It's another type of capture process. The difference is that this guy captures straight from the database, but this guy captures from this storage called local thread. Okay, so it's also a capture process. So this process captures those records that were written here. It reads from this local thread, and this process now is able to cross the network, okay, and send it to the other process. The other process is called collector. For these two processes, they have their own parameter file. So you have to set up some parameters for them to work. Otherwise, they will never work. But this other process, you don't need to set this parameter. It comes with this other one. And I will explain what the manager is about, what it does. So once the data POM sent to the collector will take it and write it as well on another type of thread file called remote thread file. Remote because it's remote because it's on a target location. And on the remote thread file, the replica will also come and read from the remote thread file and apply to the target. For each of these processes, we have checkpointing, because checkpointing is what helps you to know where you stopped and how to and where to resume, right? So let's assume that what I explained for the extract, the POM process is actually reading from this file. And for any reason, this process goes down. Once it comes back, this process there should be a file from which the process will go and read, and we know where it stopped. Once it knows where it stopped, it will just come and capture the other detail. It will just come and capture from where it stopped. Okay, so that means there's a checkpoint needed. So we have a checkpoint file for this one, for the POM, for the collector, from the replica as well, to keep track of record. Okay, and I will tell you guys that I will show you guys the location where those files are located. If you do a mistake, you delete the checkpoint file the extra process is using, this guy will get lost. You messed up your environment. You messed up your Golden Gate configuration. Because this process, for instance, has its own file, and that is from that file, this process will go and read to know where it stopped and resume from there. Okay? So the replica, as I said, is the apply process. That's the one applying, okay, the committed record to the target. Now you have another process called the manager. As you see, name manager, it manages each of these processes. So the manager that's configured on the source, we manage all the processes running on the source. And the manager that's configured on the target, we manage all the processes found on the target. Now, this manager is actually what allows the POM process to be able to access the target database. Without this manager, if the port, because when you configure the manager, you have to specify the port. If you don't specify the port, like you're here, you specify a port, This is an example of parameter. But if the port you specify here is not the same thing you specify on the pump parameter file, the pump will never access the target server. Okay? So other issues can be firewall, okay? Maybe firewall issues, that is different. That is something else. But the manager process is what allows any process that is on a source to be able to cross the network and send any data to the target. So while we are troubleshooting Golden Gate, we guys will see that sometimes the Golden Gate environment is not working because one of these processes are using the wrong port, the wrong manager port. Okay, so the manager manages the processes. It also manages the files, because those are files, right? They have is a limited space. I think the maximum is 1 gig. And what happens is, if it gets full, if it gets full, what are you going to do? You may have issues, right? You may need to configure other one. But you can set up some parameter in the manager so that you come and clean up, okay? Come and do some regular maintenance activities, okay, on this thread file, okay? And an example of parameter is this one, for instance, purge all extract, okay? So that we come and, okay, do some housekeeping here sometime. So the manager is what manages all processes here. If the manager is down, all the processes will be down. So it always has to be up on both sides, okay? For Golden Gate to function. All right, any question?
Yes, sir, there is a question.
Yes, please.
The remote tray that is here, is it a PAR file or a binary?
No, it's a file, it's a storage, okay? It's binary format. You open it, you can understand what it is. You need some specialized tools to read it and to understand what is inside. Okay? You need some tools. If you just VI, you won't understand it. But it will have some tools available. I'll be talking about lockdown, then you can read it. You can read the content of that. Does it make sense?
Yes, sir. So does it use a regular network, a listener file, or the Golden Gate comes with their own listener?
The port, right? The port is, you configure the port when you are configuring the process. That is not the listener port. It's different from the listener port. Okay, but that port should be open. You should make sure that the port is open, because for security reason, okay, environment will not just allow any port to be open like that. So they may give you some particular port to use for security reason. So just the requirement is just for you to make sure that firewall are enabled. You have communication between both, but the port is totally different from the listener port. Okay, it's different. Question?
So both manager has to have the same port, right?
It's not mandatory. They can have different port.
Okay.
But make sure that the port this manager is using is the same port you specify on the data pump process, because you need to specify that port here so that you can access the target. If the port you specify on the pump process is different from the port you specify on the manager that is on the target side, the pump will never access the target server. Any question? Any question, guys?
So how does a checkpoint in Oracle database work?
Checkpoint in Oracle, just tell you the amount of job that's already been done. that has been done. Okay, so you just measure what has been done and what is not completed yet. Okay, so let's assume, let me take an example. Okay, yes, let's take an example of you guys. You guys were on GB1. Once you pass GB1, you went to move to GB2. So there's already a checkpoint that was created after you pass the GB1 exam. So it means that you won't go back to GB1. So a checkpoint has been created there. So once you complete GB2, another checkpoint is created at that level. And once you complete project, another checkpoint will also be created there. So that's the same thing for transaction. So whenever in the database a transaction is completed, especially whenever the commit is committed, the checkpoint position will move. So whenever you commit a transaction, Oracle tells you that, okay, since the transaction is committed and it is written maybe to the data file, okay, I can rely on this, okay, I can, what can I say? I have some guarantee, right, that this transaction is completed and I can use maybe this redo log for recovery purpose. So it just helps to guarantee the amount of work done, the amount of transaction committed, okay? That's what it's used for. So that's why you say, we always say that the checkpoint position moves on the redo log files or on the control file, right? Because whenever a transaction is committed, it moves. It's a guarantee that the transaction, okay, that data can be used for recovery purpose. And if it makes sense. Any question? Okay. So, now we talk about initial load, change synchronization, talk about I explain the processes. Now let's talk about the capture process. The capture process. Let's focus on the capturing, okay? Capture part. Let's focus here on this one. So that means I'm getting to this slide. Capture process. This is where we stop today. So Golden Gate have two ways of capturing the data. It can use the extract. So the extract can capture those committed records straight from the online redo or archive. So if the transaction is already committed, the extract will just capture and come and write it here. This type of configuration is called classic capture. So the classic capture, the extract process captures transaction logs or committed transaction logs straight from the online redo, okay, and write them to the local thread. But we have another type of capture called integrated capture. And in the integrated capture, the extract will not capture directly. There is something that's in between called the log miner, and the log miner will be responsible to capture and just convert it and send it to the extract. So the extract will not deal directly with the online redo. Now, let me tell you how it works. Let me tell you some scenarios why you may need integrated. Because classic is what I explained so far before. So let's assume that we all know that, we all know that for a transaction to be committed, okay, the log writer has to write the redo from the redo log buffer to the redo log file. Okay, that's in general what happens. Okay, so when you issue commit, the log writer writes redo from redo log buffer to redo log file, and a confirmation is sent to you, to the server process, and the server process returns to the user process, and on your terminal you see committed. Okay, that's what happens. But in write intensive applications, so application where you have a lot of read, a lot of write, that means a lot of GML or DGL, a lot of redo are generated. Okay, a lot of redo are being generated. So it means that in the instance, you have a lot of redo that go to the redo log buffer. And it can also follow, those redo can also be followed by a lot of commit. So that means a lot of users are updating data and committing their transaction. In that particular scenario, whenever you have a frequent commit, it means that the log writer has to write faster so that you have a result faster as well, right? So the log writer may need to write as well faster to the disk. And sometimes that can affect the performance of the log writer. As any individual, when you write faster, sometimes you get tired. So it means that the log writer at some point can slow down. The log writer will take more time to write from redo log buffer to redo log file. So the response time can increase, because by the time the log writer will take to write and for an acknowledgement to be sent to you, it can take longer. The disk controller can also get tired. The performance can decrease because the disk controller also helps for that, okay, to manage log writing operation. Now, if the log writer is slow, it also means that it will also affect the Golden Gate processes. So if I was using the classic capture, it means the extract process to wait for committed record written by the log writer. Okay, so it means that if they are not found in the online redo log file, then the extract process won't capture that record. So it means that it can slow down the performance of the Golden Gate environment. So that means the log writer, if the log writer is slow, then the extract can also get, okay, can also be slow, can also become slow. Now, in order to overcome such issues, you can decide to configure integrated extract, integrated capture, okay? So that type of capture, you won't need to wait for the log writer to write, okay, to write to the disk, okay, before the extract picks up the committed record. The log miner server, which is configured in the memory, automatically will go in the memory and detect which transaction has been committed, and we capture those one immediately for you and send it as a form of logical chain record to the extract. So it means now there's log miner server. So having this will improve the performance of the Golden Gate environment. Okay, it's easy to switch from classic to integrated. Let's assume you are beginning with classic and you have bad experience with classic. You can run some few commands and you switch to integrated. Okay, just some few commands. You switch to integrated. Integrated is faster than classic, faster. And integrated, okay, the log miner exists. The log miner resides in the memory, and that we capture those transaction logs and convert them as a form of logical chain record, and the extra we get that, and the remaining part is what you guys know. Okay, but this improves the performance. But in some scenarios, the log miner can degrade the performance of the database. Especially we came across such issues on Exadata. That is something you are not exposed to. And on Exadata, most of the time, while using our log miner for application purpose, we noticed that the log miner was causing another type of wait event, like GB sequential rate wait event. So that is something else. Okay. So the log miner most of the time enhance the performance. Okay. But in very hard scenario, it can degrade the performance. So if I was someone to choose between classic and integrated, I will choose classic. I will choose integrated, sorry, because faster performance, right? But it also has some limitations. Okay. Limitation includes it should support only Oracle. And you have other limitations. It has a lot of benefit with the integrated. You can have parallel processes. So that means you can configure multiple extracts, parallel processes, and so on. Okay. But if you get to an environment and you see them, they are using the classic extract. That means this architecture, whereby the extract is capturing itself, right? Please don't just tell people just to switch to integrated. Try to understand why they are still using classic. It could be that maybe they had a bad experience with integrated and they decide to switch back to classic. It's possible. So always have to be curious. But for you want to speed up the application, integrated is the fastest one. Okay. I don't know if I have just some few commands to switch from classic to integrated. And just issue some new command to switch from classic to integrated. So if you issue this command, okay, to know whether your extract is classic or whether it's integrated, we issue the command and you see. And you consider just these few steps are enough for you to switch from classic to integrated. If you want to switch back, just have to run this command. Okay, so that's the difference between classic and integrated capture. Okay, so classic is very good because classic, okay, can work on heterogeneous platform. Okay, but it's limited as well. It cannot work on multi-tenant. So you see that if you are dealing with pluggable, integrated is the one to be used. Okay, so yeah. Any question? I think I will stop here today because that's where I stop for the morning. Any question? Any question, guys? I hope when you guys are quiet, it's because you understand it.
So I had this question. So
yes, please.
For some reason, right, the replica want to apply on the target database, and the target database is not open or is down. What happens at that point?
The replica will not apply. Okay. What happens is that the replica will not apply but the replicate knows what has not been applied yet. Okay, because you see some stuff behind here. Because the replicate, as I said, right, needs to read. It has a table from where it knows where the last record that has been applied to the target database. So let's assume that that table is called the checkpoint table. You guys will configure that. So that table is reside on the target side as well. Whenever the replicate applies a transaction log to the target, it comes and checks. It's like a box. It's like I have a box. Okay. It's like I have a box. Okay. I have a table and I have those, okay, it's like this. So when I have maybe this, the number, when it's applied, it just come and check. Record number is applied. If it's not applied, we not check. So let's assume it checked, it checks, and at this level, the database went down. So it knows that it has not applied this one yet. So the next time you bring on the database, the replica process will come and we read those checkpoint files and know where it stopped, and we proceed from here immediately. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that checkpoint table will help the replica to keep track of what has been applied or what has not been applied yet. So go ahead and take care of that. And you will create a checkpoint table. So without checkpoint table, the replica, you cannot create a replica. So you will create a checkpoint table while creating a replica. Very important in this type of scenario. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Right.
So that also help, like, you know, to like avoid any gap, right?
Yes, definitely yes. So again, right, if you have a lag, a lag, in Godin we talk about lag. In Godin we talk about log gap. Okay. So if you have a lag, it's most of the time because the process is not working properly. Okay. So if the process is working normally, you make sure that the record is read from the 12 file. The same amount of record is applied to the target. Okay, so that's how they make sure, because we have checkpointing while reading and checkpointing while writing. So the best scenario will be that the number of records you read is the same number of records you will write. Are we getting what I just said?
Yes.
Yeah, so that is what makes it in sync, because if we have 10 records on the remote thread, you just write 5 of them. It means that for the synchronization to take place, you need to write 5 more. Okay, so the process will keep track of that. So, and it's done automatically. If the process is working fine, you set up the parameters properly, the process will take care of the synchronization. So you make sure that the amount of record is found on the thread file, the same amount of record are applied to the target database.
Okay.
So I have a concern.
Yes, sir.
So, okay, like on the source database, and a user want to update, a user have performed a DML and a change has happened. So the question is, how would the replica process knows the table in the target database, the exact table, like to upgrade, like to update, sorry.
Yes, because the source table that you want to capture, you will write that table name in the extra parameter file, in the POM parameter file. And the replicate, you will write the target table name and the source table name. The replicate knows who is the source and knows who is the target. I don't know if I have a sample parameter file of the replicate here. an example of replica parameter file. Okay, it's not mandatory for you to know now. You guys will check videos and I will explain a little bit. You guys will check Canvas and so on to know how to set up this. This is an example of what happened. This is map. So on the replica parameter, you will put a map parameter and target. So map is what? Map, you specify the schema dot the table name. If you see star, it means that we want to replicate all the table owned by this schema called root. And you have to map it to the target one. The target table name is what? Okay. That means the target schema and the target table. So let me just take this one and get out of this place. So let's assume that my source table is scott.emp. Okay, and on the target side, I want to replicate on a different schema. Okay, and I call it sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So let's assume I keep the same name or I put a different name. So it means that whatever I specify here is the source table and this is the target table. So this is the schema who owns the table, Scott, and this is the schema who owns the table, EMP1. So the replica will do what? The replica will check from the trail file whatever information is in regard to scott.emp, and it will apply whatever is related to scott.emp to the table called jida.emp1. So you go to the target database and try to identify the table called jida.emp1, and we replicate all the changes from the remote trail to this particular table. So this is the line that allows the replica to know where to read and where to write. Okay, so when it's coming here, is the replica will be reading whatever is reading here, right? Will be related information. Okay, so we check here whatever is related to scott.emp, whatever, okay, transaction log is related to scott.emp, and we map it to the table called jida.emp that exists on the target database. Okay, so that is what the replica will do. So on the parameter for the replica, you have to specify the source and the target table. Make sense? Does it make sense or not?
Yes, sir, it does. It does. It does. I was like thinking like probably we'll have like the row ID of those stuff.
No. Row ID, no, it doesn't need no row ID. If the required parameters, okay, Golding will take care of that for you. Okay, so again, it's possible that these two tables have different structures. It means that this one may have more columns than this. Golding can take care of that. So you have two options. Either you filter the table before it crosses the network, or you filter it after it crosses the network. It means what? It means that if I have a table here that have 100 rows, and I want to that have 10 columns, and I want only 5 columns to be found on the target, I can filter it at the level of data pom, so that data pom will discard there's 5 additional columns, and we just pick up 5. So only those 5 columns now will go to the target, and the replica will apply only the 5 columns. Or you may leave the data pom process to send all the 10 columns, and the replica process will filter 5 and apply only 5. But the best scenario is what I explained first. You may need the pom process to filter first, so that it can reduce the amount of data crossing the network, and the replica will get only those data and apply. Okay, so you just need to mention on each of the parameter file which table you want to read from and where you want to write.
Okay, thank you.
All right, no problem. Anything else, guys? Any other question? Any question for me?
So, who does the encryption?
Okay, encryption is a security, okay? Because since on this configuration, you guys see that the data is crossing the network, and also the data is also stored somewhere in this physical location. So that means you have data stored here and data crossing the network. So it means that these data are exposed. So either while it's reaching a local thread or while crossing the network. So you will also implement the encryption after you configure Golden Gate. So you may need to protect those data at rest and in motion. So that's why I created another slide called security, Golden Gate security, so that you can enable wallet and password encryption if you want to use that, or any other method, okay, to ensure the security. So you'll be doing it as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right, no problem. Any question? Any question, guys? Are you good? It's Friday. We are tired. We're waiting for Saturday. All right. So since there's no question, let me pick the group that we present. So far there is oh really? So all this group already presented. That's why the evening class don't have a lot of people. So it means Natu is no longer part of this group, right? Natu is not part of this group. Okay. Okay. You have only 3 people here. All right. Which is good for you, Golden Gate. I updated the assignment. What is that? Oh. I updated the assignment. I sent the updated one. The first one is to configure unidirectional. Oh, everything is on 12C. Eh? I don't want someone to configure Golden Gate on an 11G database. Everything, the database should be on 12C. You can decide to use a non-container. That means I assume that you're using the database you upgraded to 12C. That's why we did the upgrade. The database upgrade to 12C is the one you use for Golden Gate. Because the Golden Gate version is also 12C. The one we have is 12C. Okay? So they will configure unidirectional. Bidirectional is a plus. Okay? Bidirectional is a plus, and I would like some people to try it. And this is another big bonus. Configure Golden Gate on a container with pluggable. With 2 pluggables database of your choice. This is very optional, the next one, okay? Just for those who have time. But this one is good. I would like people to try this. Because this one, everybody will be able to do this. But I want you guys to try it. Okay. Oh, there's a lot of numbers. Let me take A, B, C so that B, A. Okay. So so the first thing is to configure it. I think I gave high level step of what to do. Next, you have to add a table. That means you add a new table on the source database. And that table you populate it with 10 rows. Okay. So it means you come here, you add a table, you add 10 rows, but the table is not here. All right. So now you need to show us how you are going to move the data from this one to this one. That means how you are going to move the table or enable the table to be replicated from the source to the target. So I want you to show me that, how to add the table to the Golden Gate configuration. Very important because you will be configuring Golden Gate in an environment that already has a populated table. So you need to know how to do that. Okay. So this is a basic assignment. Okay. At least complete this. This one is a bonus. And I would like those who will try. Okay. So this updated detail, I will send it to you guys. Okay. And yeah, you can start. And this group, you should start on November 9, at least with the configuration. Monday, so November 9, this group will start with the configuration, Oracle Golden Gate configuration. All right. So I hope they are here, right? Landover group. Alan, Marie, Estelle. I don't know if Natu is here, but that's what I got. All right. But I don't see Natu in any group here. Are you part of this class? Is she here? Can someone here tell me where Natu belongs to?
No idea. She might still be here.
Because last class, I think someone told me she's not here. Do you have any member of this group here in this class? Any member of Landover group here, present here? Any member of Landover group? Okay. So in this scenario, then, if there's no member here, I'm even doubting, I'm not even sure whether these people will even do the assignment. But in case, I will check with them on Monday, but I will create a backup group. A backup group. So that means if this group is not ready, the other group should be ready. The goal is that we want the group to present. And I will go to the same circular, okay? The first group that work on Oracle 12c will take care of it, okay? So we have any member from Oracle 12c? From
yes.
group?
Yes, sir.
All right, okay, I even see Brian here. So, yes, so it means that I want you guys to also prepare this Golden Gate configuration, okay? So, yeah, we don't want a group. I always want a presentation. If they don't present, you guys will be present. So backup for OGG, okay? So you guys are the backup.
So is it Alman backup or?
Now backup, that means you are covering.
That's okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you are covering those people, right? So yeah, just to make sure we have a presentation. So it means that for this group, you guys will be presenting as well. I will check with them. If they are serious, they are still here. Okay. They will present. If not, you guys will present.
Anytime.
Okay. So starting on Monday, November 11. Okay. November 9, sorry. You guys will present Oracle Golden Gate. Okay. So
Okay.
thank you. And that will be the same for RAC. I will assign 2 groups for RAC. And the other group will also present again on RAC. Okay. And yeah. All right. Another question for me?
So can I ask my question out of this topic?
You can go ahead. Go ahead, please.
Okay, I tried to do the data pump upgrade you made mention of. So
I remember.
I bet you the script you didn't send it. So I went and took a script online.
Yeah.
So but I don't know. I was able to export using the version parameter. I used version 12. It went through for 11.3 database, but when I wanted to do the other 11.1, it shows that the DC was not supported.
Okay, online you will be seeing a lot of stuff. Oh, let me share that script with you. Online you'll be seeing a lot of stuff. Okay, when we are exporting, when we are upgrading from the lower version to the highest version, we don't mention the version parameter. Automatically, data pump takes care of that. But you need to specify the version parameter only when you are downgrading. That means only if you are moving from 12 to 11. Okay? So that parameter is useless. Oracle even denies, Oracle doesn't want you to do that parameter. I never use that parameter in the export. Oh Lord. I never arrange this. That's why I still even have to do something on it.
And I discovered the export. This method is more simpler and faster.
Which one?
The export, the data pump.
Yes, it's very simpler. But the thing is just the downtime, right? How long it take. That's the only thing. We have some few challenges, the size and others. But it's very more simpler than it's easier than DBU or manual. Okay, so yeah. But what we are talking about version parameter, people will be putting stuff online, okay? But in real environment, you will almost never use it. You will never see that here. No version. But if I was downgrading from 12 to 11, now it makes sense to mention version parameter. Okay? So, okay. Any other question? Let me work this thing. Remove useless detail and send it. Another question?
I think that's it.
All right. So thank you guys for your time today. Have a great weekend. Okay. And meet on Monday. Or
please, everyone should remember to vote.
Okay. So I think I was doing the listener issues, long issues, listener issues. What makes the document big? Because It was failing because of listening issues. All right, you guys can disconnect. Those who want to disconnect while I'm doing a cleanup. Okay. I'm just trying to arrange this.
So, sir.
Yes.
So during the import, is it also good to use the exclude statistics?
Yes, if you use on the export, you can also use on the import. Yeah. It's not mandatory. You can decide to use it or not. Okay. It's optional. I put it in the common group for those who want it morning and evening. You guys can grab it from there. All right. Okay, guys, take care. Bye.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, thank you.
Bye. Welcome.
Mr. Patrick.
Yeah, below.
You remember